We're going to take you back in time. Back when some had hair, and some had none. We're going back before psychedelics and before wild prints. We're going back before big bow ties and even back before spare tires. We're going back to 1949. This is a story of rags to riches, starring Super Ed. Chapter 1, Les Miserables. This is the story of a boy born in China on April 27, 1949. He was raised on the bottle. He made extra money selling his body as a washboard to support his habit. This was his humble beginnings. In 1963, he immigrated to the United States. On this fateful journey, he met his future accountant and attorney. At first, meals were few and far in between. Times were tough, but Eddie was resourceful and soon landed a job as a stock boy at Smith's Food King. He was such a good worker that he was quickly promoted to box boy. Of course, like every American boy, it was not all work. There was time for leisure and reflections.
A young girl by the name of Irene Kwan had caught his fancy, and she was frequently on his mind. He didn't know what it was, but there was something about her that he liked. He tried to get her attention by adopting the sophisticated look, but she wouldn't give him the time of day. So he turned his attention to sports and other leisures. He started with softball, but he was the second worst player on the team. So he tried basketball and track and field. He spent most of his time enjoying the sea and sun. Here he is with a familiar face, but not the body. And here he took a trip to the snow with some of his other friends.
Now Eddie's life had taken a turn for the better. He was promoted to Smith Food King manager in charge of coupons. He was able to buy a new car. He graduated from high school, and even Irene was coming around. They were seen double dating with this lovely couple.
Chapter 2, Less Miserable. Yes, Irene Kwan finally came around, and soon there were wedding bells. They were so in love, they didn't even know that they were poor. They had several friends in the same boat, and they occasionally shared a meal together. Soon, the honeymoon was over, and it was time to get serious. Eddie graduated from college. He tried modeling, but he couldn't quite get his head position right, and there was only so much you can do with socks. He decided he wanted to be his own boss, so he purchased this station with a real mechanic. He got his first exposure to auto care. He devoted all of his waking hours to work because this was what he had to come home to. He tried to spend as much time as he could with the boys. And since working and playing cards couldn't occupy all of his waking hours, he went and purchased another station, Exxon in Northridge. However, his demanding wife had this to say one day: I want one of these." Being the generous person that he was, he gave her 2. They named them Darren and Stephanie. He spent tireless hours working. He actually enjoyed it. He took his work so seriously that when Steve invited him to a barbecue and told him to come in proper attire, this is how he showed up. Soon, success was evident, and so were the vultures. Some were so bold to even take the food right out of their mouths. More vultures. Well, there were barbecues, and then there were barbecues. The vultures were eating him out of house and home. He even had to send his #1 son to get food. Darren soon tired of this and told his dad, "I've got a better idea for feeding these people. It'll save you money and feed more people." But with all the latest information regarding good nutrition and eating less fat, and fortunately for Henry, Eddie had a different idea. He said, "No more freeloaders," and he put the people to work.
Chapter 3. Chapter 3. The Midas Touch. There were no more free meals. Anyone who ate had to work. Even the in-laws. There were no exceptions. With all this help, Eddie was able to expand his business. First a mini-mart, and then a thrifty car rental. He was so obsessed with his business that he even demanded allegiance from his minimum wage employees. Each morning, he would take roll call to make sure everyone stayed in line. He made the front cover of Fortune magazine as one of America's 7 toughest bosses. He was feared by even the meanest and the ugliest. He received many awards for the top sales in various sales areas. He also made the front cover of People magazine. The business was so successful that he had an accountant and a lawyer help him count his money. He became so well known for his financial adeptness that the U.S. Treasury gave him a special honor. Even Dolly Parton came personally to congratulate him. Eddie was so happy that he did a song and dance. Eddie and Irene soon enjoyed the rewards of fame and fortune. They went hobnobbing in the Mediterranean Sea. And Eddie was seen in the company of the most elite. The Quons and the Piss tried to keep up with the Chews, but it was useless. At that moment, Eddie was already negotiating something really big. Fortune magazine has already planned another feature issue with Mr. Chew on the cover. Chapter 4, The Dream. One day, as Eddie was resting, he had a very strange dream. It started with vultures with forks and knives flying overhead. Then he was eating amongst friends. strange creatures appeared. He dreamt his accountant tried to poison him with snakes and frighten him with reptiles. Even his son was involved. In this strange dream, he became president of the Mad Club. He had a loyal following. Then he dreamt he had discovered an amazing plant. A very special tree. Here was his first crop. People all over the world heard about his tree, and his son was kidnapped for ransom. He hired the best detective around, Sergeant Gottnop and Sergeant Pico, who rescued his son and captured the kidnappers. They were paid handsomely from the fruit of the tree, but they discovered that the money was fraudulent. Eddie and his accomplices were jailed. After this, business went downhill. As a promotional gimmick, his accountant suggested this. That put the business further in the red, and his lawyer suggested getting into the latest booming business, a health spa. These were their most loyal customers. And the business failed miserably because these were the instructors. Eddie had a moment of temporary insanity and killed his accountant and attorney. Just then, he woke and saw his household pet and realized it was only a dream. Then he was comforted by the sight of his wife and son and daughter. And when he saw his friends enjoying his food, he knew he was back home and they were all celebrating his 40th.